This is Fixing Famous People, the podcast where two reality television producers pitch solutions to save celebrities in dire straits.
But first, let's get to the Pre-Fixe, your weekly pop culture roundup.
So, for years, everyone thinks Hugh Jackman is gay. And then last year, he announces he's splitting from his wife, and everyone's like, he's definitely gay. And now last week, we find out that he's in a relationship with Sutton Foster. So now we can say, oh, he's definitely gay.
Yeah, like this is confirmation. Yeah. This is his way of coming out, is dating. Yeah.
Absolutely. Other than Bobby Cannavale, Sutton Foster is sort of a gay guys marry you type of lady. You know what I mean? It's just you're a musical theater.
She was married to Bobby Cannavale.
They were either married or together. Am I wrong about this?
That is the strangest pairing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, yeah. They were together. They were together for a minute.
Wow.
Yep.
Good for her.
Yep.
I mean, she's roping him in left and right, hotter than the next.
Wait, is this also true? Sutton Foster was married to Christian Borle?
Yeah, and then he cheated on her with Laura Bell Bundy when they were doing...
Christian Borle is not gay?
The Legally Blonde musical, not according to his wives.
This is insane to me.
I mean...
Wow.
He's probably gay too, but like, whatever. I mean, he's probably also...
I don't know.
Like, whatever. What does it matter anymore, actually? He cheated on Sutton Foster with Laura Bell Bundy when they were together in Legally Blonde, the musical. So people are saying like, oh, this is Sutton Foster's like Sutton Foster's doing what was done to her, basically.
Interesting.
Because they were in The Music Man together.
I mean, can you imagine? Is there, other than we met on Grindr, is there a gayer way to say you met your partner than we were starring in The Music Man on Broadway?
And we were wearing those the band costumes, and one day we tore them off of each other.
Sometimes we just lay in bed singing 76 trombones in the big parade. It's how we unwind, basically.
Yeah. However, honestly, good for them. If this is real, good for them.
Sure. I mean, look, love wins no matter what. But
it sure does.
There's just, I just don't know. I I really thought Hugh Jackman would announce at the Academy Awards
with a man like
that
step
he was
onto the red
dating
carpet.
Ryan Reynolds. That's the coupling we need. That's the coupling we deserve.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe, he could shock us with someone out of left field.
No, imagine if he got together with Jonathan Bailey. The world would split in two.
I would not allow that. Jonathan Bailey needs to be with... I know how you and our other friend Tom Chacho feel about Husifer Jackman, but I need Jonathan Bailey to be with whoever we deem is the hottest person on the planet. That's the only person I want Jonathan Bailey fucking.
Well, I mean, Hugh Jackman's up there for me and Tom, so...
I don't know. As a fellow 50s person, I'm feeling Hugh has aged out of it. He's not. No. Yeah,
your judgment is clouded anyway. Well, let's move on before we get in an actual fight.
Oh, this won't be an actual fight. He's just not hot enough for Jonathan Bailey. I don't think anyone is, really.
I know, but I think Jonathan Bailey would disagree with that.
Well, let's have him as a guest.
We should call it. Should we text him?
We should have a date Jonathan Bailey pageant. It should be the next show we do.
I mean, that's what's going to happen after Wicked. It's going to be like, who wants to date Jonathan Bailey should be a reality show.
Justin Timberlake is a name we haven't mentioned in several weeks because he hasn't been committing any crimes or anything like that. But he has postponed 6 more tour dates of the Forget Tomorrow World Tour. You'll remember this tour being referenced when he was arrested for his DUI, and he said, this is going to ruin the tour. This tour
said,
already being ruined on its own.
Yeah,
He's having some issues. He's got some health issues. He's been sick, and he needs to reschedule.
Yeah, been sick from getting germs off of holding that woman's hand that was not his wife.
Oh, you're going back now.
No, there's a new one. This was another sighting recently. Yes, Dominick.
Stop it.
Yes.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm seeing no recent evidence online of him holding hands with someone. I think you're reading old copies of The Guardian at your gynecologist or something in the lobby.
No, I saw it all over the internet, but I think that then we moved on with our lives because no one cares because he's a loser.
Liam Payne, let's just speak briefly. Right after we recorded last week, I saw a story that Liam Payne had been texting with Nicole Scherzinger either the day before or the day that he actually did pass away. And it piqued my interest, mostly because Nicole Scherzinger's in the news because Sunset or Pussycat Boulevard has opened to rave reviews.
Wait, why does she have blood all over herself whenever she does this?
I'm not going to, you have to go see it.
I know, but I need you to tell me off camera because I need to know. Anyway, continue.
You've seen Sunset Boulevard.
I forget.
The show opens and closes with a murder. So and you'll have to see how she got the blood.
Sure.
What I like is that in every still, the blood is in the exact same spot on her body. Like it's always like from her lower lip.
And she's in like a slip and like no shoes. Like she's truly just wearing a slip.
Well, the entire show she's dressed like that. Like that's her costume. You must see
really
it.
have to go fucking see it, don't
I?
I?
You must see it. She's so good.
Everyone is seeing it and is like putting it up and like they're like, this was fucking incredible. Like
because people just aren't expecting it. It's been, and you heard it here. Please remember
a year ago,
FFP boots on the ground or whatever they call boots in the UK, which I believe is also boots. So Liam Payne, as the days go by and the stories come through, we realize
every person alive was texting with him.
No, Nicole Scherzinger and Liam Payne were friends, not only because Nicole Scherzinger was a judge on X Factor that helped put One Direction together.
Yeah.
Which is just a shocking little niche detail. But they were also apparently Nicole, Liam Payne, and Kelly Rowland were doing a show, I think called Being the Band or Building the Band. And they were doing this show together. And so that's probably why they were talking. Some of the stuff I've been reading has said that everyone close to Liam was shocked that his management team would even sign him up for a new show because he'd been having a lot of problems with depression and drugs and all that stuff.
Did you see that Naomi Campbell was saying that she was like texting with him that day too?
I did not.
Or that they were dating or something. And I was like, what? No, it was so weird. I don't know.
I have no idea what that's about. But anyway, yes, I was for days perplexed by the Liam Nicole situation. And I was like, he's in One Direction partially because of her. Moving along, listeners, if you have not seen this video of Adele spotting Celine Dion in the audience of her concert and bursting into tears and Celine bursting into tears and them hugging, I highly suggest you Google it right now.
There's no way. If you listen to this show, you have this in your algorithm on Instagram. And if you don't, that's on you, is what I'm going to say.
People may not. Who knows? I mean, you've got to just go. Celine looks perfect. Adele looks perfect. It was and
Adele's
like
a
moment.
Walking up to her weeping. Yeah. Like weeping. She's so happy to see her. And then you see the moment when everyone you actually hear the moment where everyone in the audience realizes who she's hugging and everyone starts screaming bloody murder. And the people around Celine are like in her face screaming like in ecstasy that she's there.
Yeah. Not to put a black cloud over what is easily one of the top 10 moments of the entire year, but there is a split second there when Adele is hoisting Celine out of her seat, and I'm screaming, she has stiff person syndrome.
She's stiff. She's too stiff for this. Yes.
Please be careful with Celine. You can't jostle her like that, Adele.
And then the footage afterwards is just her, Celine just crying. Because she's like hearing the cheers for her, and she's just like so moved by it. And then at one point they're like, Celine Dion, like she tries to get her to stand up and Celine stands up and everyone just goes fucking crazy again.
Right.
Yeah.
I think she was crying because Adele was flat for the second half of the concert.
She's like, this stupid bitch is the one that took over the Coliseum. Yeah.
What have you done to my room? It was lovely to see her there with her sons, her adult sons, I might add. Like those, they're just.
Renee Charles is like 30 years old now.
Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy.
He's not. He's like 20, but he looks like so
But he's
old.
An adult. He's
he's like a grown man now. And I remember when she like just had him as a little baby.
When you were a little baby.
When I was a little baby, basically.
Yeah, I was like 45 when that kid was born. I remember her like going on Diane Sawyer talking about IVF and all this shit. And then she just kept having kids.
You know that one of our listeners sent me that book that she did with like Ann Geddes where she's like laying with the baby. Do you know?
I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's fantastic.
Like humongous, and there's a CD in it.
I remember it well. While we're all in good moods, here's some more good news. Shawn Mendes, in a recent performance, maybe last night or the day before.
I was waiting for you to bring this up.
I don't know what you think my take will be on this, but like for him to finally address it, I think is truly tremendous. Like he got on the mic at one of his concerts and just started going off the cuff about trying to figure out his sexuality. And it's just scary, just like it must be for anybody else. And I think it's the most directly he's ever addressed it. I mean, he's been bullied into saying something, not by the people on this podcast as
mainly
well,
by Wendy Williams, actually.
Yes, but that is definitely true. But that's a process. I hate the word journey, but it is a fucking journey. And to have to do that publicly, I cannot imagine how hard that would be, because it's certainly hard to do it when you're not living a public life. So good for him.
Well, look at Billie Eilish. Like, eventually she was like, I'm a lesbian. And she's like, because all you guys do is make fun of my clothing. And if I'm gay, then it's not weird. So like, I finally have to come out because you guys are mean to me.
And she was also like, I just thought everybody knew.
Yeah. Basically. She's like, look at what I look like and what I dress like. Like, what do you think is happening here?
Right. So welcome to the party, Sean, if you're even at it. I mean, at least you're a guest. So
at least
someone give him a drink ticket. Let's see how far this goes.
How you do? It's Wendy, and if only Wendy was still on the air. If only Wendy was conscious.
Yeah, like I'm sure someone's whispering it to her at some point. And Shawn Mendes, I'm looking directly at you. When you officially come out, if you want to do it on this podcast, I think that would be really smart for your career. And by your career, I mean our careers. So please, you wouldn't even have to do it shirtless. You would have to do it pantsless, though. That would be part of the deal. So give us a call. Oh, you know what I forgot to email you today is that Cynthia Erivo has responded to the backlash over people telling her to calm down about her overreaction to the photo, to the poster, the doctored poster of the Wicked movie.
Oh, God, I'm not ready for this.
I think you would be surprised. I'll send you the link when we're done. She responded perfectly. And her response was, I probably should have called some friends before I said something publicly, but I'm very protective of the role, as you'll understand, and blah, blah, blah. Is it a celebrity bullshit response? Yes, it's always a celebrity bullshit response, but almost a reasonable one.
I also believe it. Like, I believe that that's real. Like, I don't think she's like, oh, blah, blah, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I believe that she really was like, I was mad, so I did this, and now I regret it.
100%. The even better statement would have been, honestly, if I had just called one faggot before I hit send on Insta, none of this would have happened. So that's my story. Goodbye. So that's it. Before you say anything on Instagram, celebrities or non-celebrities, call your gay friends to make sure you're not going to get spoken about on this podcast. That's all. Easy life rule.
And now we're moving, and P.S. we're moving right along. They're releasing like audio of them singing Defying Gravity together. Like they are like filling up the bucket of Wicked, so we don't have only this to talk about it. And it's like in a great way, you know?
I don't know how I get alerts for certain pages sent to me. I don't know how it's been selected. I feel like God selected it for me because I've never selected an Instagram page and said, I want updates every time they're posting. But goddamn, if Wicked doesn't send me something 3 times a day and I'm in the middle of something, I'm like, ooh, there's one clip. Now they're singing. Now they're going live as well.
Yeah.
It's the onslaught, the deluge, if you will.
It's great. They have like a gun to Mark Zuckerberg's head, and they're like, listen, you little fuck, like this movie will be big.
Well, some people, the screenings have started, and I don't know.
The Kardashians.
I've seen people posting that they're at screenings, but I haven't seen people posting their reactions to it yet.
Which makes me like
nervous.
A little nervous.
Sure.
But there's just no way. There's just no way that it's bad.
Well, through my best friend, I'm involved with 3 sets of tickets for the beginning on the earliest screening that we have slots to is Monday, November 18th at the Empire 25. So hopefully that'll be the day that we get to see it, if not before. And if anyone has passes to earlier screenings, please kick them over to us. But we also have tickets to see it on the 20th and the 21st, just in case something happens. That's all.
Like if you get in a fight with someone. Oh, I was okay.
Right. If they don't have Reese's Pieces available, I will leave a movie theater.
Yeah. There's an episode that will come out next week where I talk about what my plan is to shush people at the Wicked screenings. And Hassan has already made me elicit a retraction where his thing that he's going to say, not shut up, which I said he's going to say, is if you don't have a 3-octave range, don't sing. That's what he's going to scream at people, which is even really meaner than what I said he was going to say.
That is hilarious. It's a little long, though. I think what I'll do is just lean into their ear and just say, bitch, you want to defy gravity? Say another word. And that's it. With a closed fist, because you know how imposing my fist is. That's what I hear at the bars. All right, moving right along here, we're going to get over to Lizzo, another person who we haven't spoken about in a minute. I bring her up because she went to a Halloween party this weekend and dressed as Ozempic.
But it was like her version of Ozempic that they made fun of her about on South Park or something like that, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And everyone's been saying she's on it. And I don't know that she's confirmed or denied. So she just decided to dress as it, which is just her little...
But it's like, because South Park made fun of her for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she still hasn't said anything.
P.S. Genius.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She loves a little fuck you like that. Like she's real good at that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and it being funny and we're all like in it. And we're like, oh yeah, she's like telling us to fuck off. Like
Amber Rose, a name that we don't say often here and that I hope to never say again.
Yeah, honestly.
This bitch needs to put the pipe down because
no,
we will not wade into politics here, but Beyonce spoke on behalf of Kamala Harris at a rally in Houston, and Amber Rose tweets or instas, Beyonce is trying to be me. Her speech was very similar to what I said about Donald Trump several months ago. Amber Rose, come here. Closer. Put your ear right up against it. Come right up against it. You are a fucking moron. Like, there is, the list of people that Beyonce wants to be, it's not even a blank page. It's a torn Post-it with no ink on it. You're a fucking moron. Be quiet.
No, let alone you who has no actual real career to stand on other than putting your ankles behind your earlobes for celebrities.
I can't remember if it was Shade Room or another site, but there were comments on there that said Amber Rose has not been right since AE, her ex-boyfriend, started dating Cher. That's who he's been with now for the past 2 years. And that it just fucked her up because as hot as you think you are, there's an 80-year-old woman fucking your man. So just deal with it.
Yeah. Who's an international superstar that you will never be because you have no talent.
Yep.
Guess what? Anyone can be an influencer now. You're nothing. Bye.
Instead of MAGA, you should be doing MARA, which would be make Amber Rose relevant again. Bye, bitch.
All right. No, okay. We did it. I like literally, let's move on.
Is she dead? Put more dirt on it. Is she dead?
We did it. Mara.
From death to birth, Giselle Bundchen, pregnant.
Oh, Dominic, I don't like this.
Why?
Why is she having a kid with some random young man? Like,
well, I mean, I think it's her boyfriend, but
I know, but like, I don't. For what? For what?
You're like, why do women have babies?
No, but
this is your question.
I'm like, stop. I don't know.
But why are you mad because you're a Tom Brady fan?
Not at all. I think he's a loser, but like,
because he's in his feelings. About
he hates it. He's like, a baby I won't be able to kiss on the lips. Like,
yeah, it's a crime if you kiss a child on your lips that isn't biologically yours.
Yes, correct.
Wowie, wee wow. So yeah, she's pregnant. She's moved on. Tom Brady in his feelings posting some cryptic. It was either Fleetwood Mac or it was Landslide.
It was like Landslide. And the song was on the Instagram story. I saw it. It looked so stupid.
What are you doing, Tom Brady?
Men are such babies. Like, men are such babies.
Great men are babies when it comes to this stuff. But, you know, she's, it is a surprise that she'd start a new family with someone else, but good for you.
I mean, she can do whatever she wants. I'm just like,
she really
okay.
Can.
You know,
Ohani Noah. If you don't know this name, you're about to find out that he is Jennifer Lopez's first husband. You know, he's sort of been on and off in the news this year, as he is every time J-Lo breaks up with someone. And in an interview, he has said that he believes that Diddy was part of the reason why he broke up with Jennifer Lopez and also why he didn't have much of a career in the 25 years since that happened. So what I think is that everyone on the planet is suing Diddy right now. So he's going to literally get blamed for shooting JFK, possibly Abe Lincoln. I mean, this is Like, oh, honey Noah, the list of shit that Diddy has to answer for right now, much more mayhem than what you're posting.
Like, I'm not like a global superstar because of Diddy. It's like, or because no one cares about
Right. I'm not a global superstar because of P. Diddy. Also, who are you? Who are you?
No, but actually, Dominic, the reason this podcast isn't the number one podcast in the world is because Diddy has been blocking us this whole time.
Well, who do we sue? Can we join that class action?
I think we have to.
Speaking of that dirtbag, I tried not to talk about him a lot, and I think moving forward,
it's impossible.
We're gonna we'll like do the signposts, but it's literally every day someone's releasing videos with blurred faces of women dancing in a room with Diddy, and there's unidentified vials, and now he's accused of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old boy, and everyone's like moved on from Usher and is saying, is it Justin Bieber? Like, it's almost become a little too hard to track, which I hope truly does not affect these cases. Sometimes when there's a celebrity who's getting sued by a million people at once, it sort of dilutes the severity of
or
everything.
Like then that can make it be like, look, everyone, there's no way all these are correct because they're all suing me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like everyone who has been sexually assaulted deserves their day in court. And I'm not advising people to not press charges, but it's almost
or come forward with their stories.
Let's get one to like, let's put this.
We gotta really all come together and like really funnel these all into the like.
Right. Well, because it's going to be one of those things where like, oh, he's in jail for life because of sex trafficking and not for rape. And it gets into that moment where you're like, let's just keep him indoors, like we're still doing with Harvey Weinstein until he comes up with another disease that he thinks is going to get him out of jail. Yeah. Let's just leave him in jail. Unsuccessfully.
Post Diddy like trial world is going to be it's going to be Me Too all over again. Like this is going to, when we eventually find out who all these people are, we're never going to be able to come back from this.
Well, I mean, we do have a major announcement. Should we just drop it right here?
I think we do.
All right.
Crowd around your phones. This is
big. Just listen closely. Don't pull over.
But like you might have to
people to pull over for that.
Put your hazard lights on as you drive, just so that people are just backing away. You know what I'm saying? Like if you do fly off the road, then you are warning other people before you do that.
This is going to ruin the tour. All right.
Dominic and I, this Sunday, hopefully if we get in, will be attending a screening of the movie, the film.
The cinematic experience that is
Unstoppable, starring Jennifer Lynn Lopez, with a Q&A afterwards with Jennifer Lopez.
Wow. So the last time we were almost in a room with her was at the duplex when she was chasing after us.
When she stalked us.
Now we are chasing after her. And if we are afforded the opportunity to stand at that mic and ask Jennifer Lopez a question, the very first thing I'm going to say is, please explain the plot of Atlas, because there's no one here knows it.
There is no world where they're just letting people have a microphone to ask her a question.
And
they shouldn't. And they should not. Yes.
They really should not. What they're going to do is have us write questions down beforehand and then have them pre.
And then they're going to, and then they're going to do like someone moderating it. This is going to ask them questions anyway and not even look at the questions.
Right. Or she'll just pretend that it was a different question. She'll make up the questions on her own and ask. She'll do one of your self interviews where you do the Q's and the A's. She's just going to do all that. Am I amazing? Yeah. Am I defending Puerto Rico? Also, yeah. Am I going to win an Oscar for this? Probably not, but come see it.
Yeah. Is it hard that I'm doing this and the producer of the film is my ex-husband? Yes. Is Ben going to be there? No, there's no way. Right.
Not a chance in hell.
Right. It's just going to be her by herself.
Well, I think that the woman she's playing is going to be there.
Yes, and the actual man.
And the actual man and the actor playing.
That you said was a pogo stick.
I still don't know what the sport is. I believe, I'm still hoping that it's Ray Gunn, the Australian breakdancer, by the way.
Well, we're going to know. So hopefully we will have feedback for this film. And you never know, next week we might be coming on here and saying that she's on the road to an Oscar.
if all goes well, one of us will be removed by security during this Q&A.
Will our faces be posted at the door is the question.
We will not let you down, listeners. By the way, speaking of Ray Gunn, please go online and Google Ray Gunn, the Australian breakdancer, because here we are just a few months away from the Olympics. She's unrecognizable. She's completely changed her look. She's like a glam queen now. You wouldn't even recognize
she's
her.
like, I can't. She's like, after she's doing this right before Halloween because she's like, every single person alive that's lazy, that has a green tracksuit is going to be me for Halloween.
I was at a majority lesbian Halloween party this past Saturday, and someone was indeed dressed as Ray Gunn. It was fantastic. I walked into this party dressed as Xena, Warrior Princess. And when I tell you that there were so many lesbians in this room, and when I walked into Xena, I felt like Jodie Foster in The Accused. I mean, it was, these women were losing their fucking minds. I was almost assaulted myself.
And then say about how you like took your wig off and the person was like, who are you?
Did not know who I was. Because I was staying at the house where the party was. So I went up and changed at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was coming down talking about people's outfits. And these 2 women were like, and what are you supposed to be? And I was just in a black tank top and a hat, like normal. Yeah. I was like, I was Xena. We had a drink together 5 minutes ago, and they lost it. Now, they just didn't know I was Xena. They did thankfully know that there was an actual man in that costume, as I did not shave my chest hair.
Speaking of black shirt and a hat.
God, how did we not even lead with this? If you didn't come to this live Zoom this weekend, tell them what they missed.
Well, first, I showed up as a ghost. And when I say a ghost, I mean truly just a white sheet over my head with eyes cut out, and I was a ghost. And then once I took my ghost costume off, I was dressed as Dominick Pupa at the duplex with a black shirt. You're wearing it right now.
I'm wearing it at this moment.
At this moment. A black hat that my mom made for you, custom made, that says, "Hey, y'all," with chains and your initials. And it's possibly the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it is on purpose, like the most hideous thing, so that you have to wear it out of shame on this podcast.
I truly thought that you were going to be dressed as Jennifer Lopez in Atlas. And when you showed up dressed as me, I really felt that in some way I have finally influenced the younger generation in some wise ways that really just every day.
J-Lo in Atlas would have been great. That wasn't even a thought in my mind. It was like, I'm going to dress up as Dominic because he's going to think this is the funniest.
J-Lo, and I did. It was truly hilarious. And J-Lo in Atlas, that outfit is even similar than what I wear every day.
I know, it actually is.
That's just a gray tank top with no hat.
And like a zip up little half zip situation going on and a wig. But it was hilarious, and I need to post the pictures. When Dominic gives me the heart of the ocean, I will be giving him the hat that my mother made him. And
so it'll be after Christmas. Or maybe we'll do a live exchange at my holiday show.
At your holiday show? Yeah.
Armie Hammer has a podcast now.
I'm currently reading his mother's memoir, if you didn't know. Okay.
He has a podcast. Insert, is it a cooking show here? Sure, I have no idea. But Armie Hammer now says that he likes the cannibal allegations because they are so wild. He still maintains that they are untrue, but he has grown to love how ridiculous he thinks they are. And he's sort of riding them into whatever this next chapter of his career is going to be.
Well, he had a change of heart in 2 weeks, because wasn't it only like a couple weeks ago that he was like complaining that he had no money, even though, as his mother says in her book, they are filthy rich. Beyond any world, like where she's friends with Princess Diana so much that they chat all the time. So but he's broke. He's broke as a joke.
Yeah. No one. Yeah. Once you have that much money, you always have somewhere. I mean, it's like no one believes that you can't afford
gas money.
Gas. Like that's the problem. You know, like you shouldn't have said gas, because make it work, Armie Hammer. Make it work.
This is what when you are a privileged white man that looks like Armie Hammer and is brought up in the world that he's brought up, like anything that you do that's not perfect, you're like, my life is terrible.
Yeah. Hot people get free shit, period. That's the way the world works. It's just the way the world works. And
let alone people that are like the heir to oil fortunes. Do you know what I mean?
Hot people get free shit. Even if he did actually eat someone and go to jail for it, A million women would still marry him behind bars and send him free shit. It doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
gas you can handle, Army. Honestly, you should have chosen something else.
Also, get a fucking job.
Where should he work? Where would be a good?
And
I mean,
I don't know.
I know we're not going to like actually fix him, but like, where would he work? Like a Hollister? Is that still open, that place?
Honestly, yes. I mean, never forget, I used to love Hollister. He could be a Hollister model outside the front.
He could.
He's hot enough.
Like, I don't see him doing Trader Joe's or any of the other.
No. He was like renting paddle boards in Grand Cayman. So like no money from that?
That's a good job for him though.
Yeah.
Pretty mindless.
Low profile.
Yeah. Some sad news today. Right before we started recording, news comes over that Terry Garr passed away. And she's like a core memory person for people who are my age and love movies, specifically for Young Frankenstein and most importantly for Tootsie. And she, I believe, had MS for a very long time. She's been out of the spotlight for a very, very long time. And she was wonderful. She was a great 70s, 80s, 90s talk show guest.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll be in most people's algorithms, either because we're talking about her or because people in TMZ are all featuring her. So if you're not familiar with her, please take a gander. She's, I'm sure some younger people don't know who she is. She was like a great comedic supporting actress. And I loved when Dame Maggie Smith passed away last month, how regularly clips of her work then just automatically showed up in my feed, which I know happened to a lot of people. And I hope that happens with Terry Garr as well, because she deserves the attention. But I think she was diagnosed with MS like in 2000 or 2002, and she was out of the spotlight for a long time.
That was so long ago. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great run, you know?
We love you, Terry Garr. The last thing today, before we head into our fix, is did you see that Timothy Chalamet attended?
Yes. Honestly, this is the thing, though. Smart.
Oh, like, yeah. Smart. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He did, in Washington Square Park, they did like a Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest or something. As in, God knows who. Like, I could have just decided I was going to do one and like put it on the internet and people showed up. Like, I don't think it was like a real organization. I think it was like an influencer or something.
Yeah.
And they were like giving away prizes. And they were all these guys that were like of varying degrees of looking like him, like showed up to like be like, look, I'm like Timothy Chalamet. And then one of them walks up and it's literally Timothy Chalamet. And everyone starts going fucking crazy.
But it did get chaotic. Like he turned the place into an actual frenzy.
Yes.
Someone got arrested. Yes. It was pretty crazy.
Listen, if you're an A-list celebrity, you can't just walk into a park. Let alone a park of people like that are your fans that say like, I look like them.
Right. Especially like at NYU, you know what I mean? Basically on the NYU campus, like causing a huge ruckus.
Yes.
The most hilarious part of this whole thing was that the prize for looking like Timothy Chalamet was $50.
No, it's like dumb. But again, that's what makes it so good that he showed up to it. Like that makes you be like, oh yeah, he's funny. Like that's funny.
He should have upped the prize money. Actually.
Yeah, he should have been like, here's $50,000.
Seriously, which he can afford, probably.
That listen, I saw the trailer for that Bob Dylan movie, and when I tell you my entire neighborhood is in the entire trailer, it's crazy.
We have two reminders before the Pre-Fixe closes today and we get into our fix, which today will be Miss Olivia Wilde. Tickets for my holiday show are available on my website, domintary.com, going to 10 cities this year that I've mentioned here a billion times. If yours is one of them or within a drivable or flyable for the wealthier of you, please come. Ticket sales are going quite nicely. And I want everyone I love who listens to this podcast to get in there. Also, on the a la carte, which for those of you who didn't last week, is our new second Pre-Fixe available on Apple subscriptions today.
And on Patreon.
Thank you.
$5.
We're going to be talking about what the hell is wrong with Rachel Ray. Why is the Hallmark Network ageist? And we're going to talk about someone known as Fat Leonardo DiCaprio.
I saw that and was dying.
He really does look like him.
And much
more. Duchess of Smuckers, James Franco, George Clooney on Broadway. We have a couple of things to go over. So hop on over there if you've got $5 to join that little club, and you'll hear the a la carte stories today.
One more thing really quickly. I must say that I, the other night, went to a screening of Yasser Lester, who is Chelsea Devantez's husband's film, The Gutter. It is coming out on this Friday on Hulu or in theaters. Dominic, you must run, do not walk. It is made for people that like this podcast and like the Pre-Fixe.
Oh, that's great.
It is unhinged. It is fucking hilarious. And in our vein of humor that is like pushing the envelope a little bit, but funny, but you're like, oh my God, that's bad. But oh my God, it's like, it is so fucking funny. And it brings me back to like, I don't want to liken it to Scary Movie 3 because that's not what it is at all. But like the humor that is like stupid on purpose that is so fucking funny because it's like ridiculous and doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? It is such a good movie. If you want to just laugh for 90 minutes, please, I beg you, run, do not walk to Hulu or the movie theater to see The Gutter. It is so fucking funny.
I mean, those two, talk about a power couple. What a year. Her
I know.
book, his movie, they're the Kurt and Goldie of the new millennium as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
They are.
We were in stitches, as they say, doubled in half.
Speaking of doubled in half, I don't even know what that means. And I'm just going to say that we will be fixing Olivia Wilde right after these important messages with special guest Sarah Wendell.
Get ready. All right. You know her from her hilarious podcast, smart podcast, Trashy Books, and also an amazing voice, by the way. I think the first time we ever talked, I was like, your voice is just, I would listen to it forever. It's Sarah Wendell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Now I feel like I have to, deliver the most melodious sounds out of my larynx right now.
You've been cornered.
Yep.
That'll last all of 5 seconds because I'm about to make you tell Dominic a story that you told me that I just has nothing to do with what we're here to do today. And yet I just need to watch you tell Dominic this story.
All right.
Okay. So Dominic, I'm a tad younger than you. I'm 49.
Okay.
And I need to ask you if you remember something. So,
always dicey. I am a stoner. Always dicey.
Just boot up the hard drive in the back of your brain.
I'm going to try.
So do you remember in the late 90s when Katie Couric's husband died very suddenly of colon cancer, and she had a colonoscopy live on the Today Show?
Famously, yes.
And I want to say, this is the part I cannot verify. I can't find evidence, and I can't double check my own memory. This was live on the Jumbotron in Times Square.
I cannot confirm or deny that.
I am 89% sure that her colonoscopy and the Today Show segment where she had a colonoscopy live on the air was broadcast on the Jumbotron. I can't find any footage of it. Nobody had a camera phone back then, but I am 89% sure that that's true.
We will try to independently source that information because I do know some people over there, and I think they might have been even there then. We'll try to find out if that was the case, and we'll save all of our world's biggest asshole jokes for that time when we update you in next week's Pre-Fixe. But that is not the story that I thought you were going to tell.
No, there's more. I'm sorry to inform you, there's more. Okay. So I know you're
what happened. They found Matt Lauer's class ring up there live on the Jumbotron. Is that what we're saying?
No, but I know you're into bling, so I need to share something with you. I just texted Chris about this out of the blue, and he was like, I am peeing myself right now. Okay. So to Katie Couric's credit, her having a colonoscopy live on television really opened up people, forgive the pun, for just talking about it. You could just I have a colonoscopy next week, and everyone's like, oh man, I'm sorry. It was a thing you can talk about now, and she deserves a lot of credit for that.
And had a direct effect. It was sort of like Oprah introducing people to books. It was literally that same effect from what I remember, that the number of colonoscopies booked afterwards
staggering
to the 1,000th power. Yeah.
And the diagnosis of an early treatment went up as well. So people were able to be treated before they had a serious problem. So she also had a foundation, and that she launched around the same time as all of this in memory of her husband. And they sold hats and shirts, and they sold jewelry. And I was on the internet, and I saw the jewelry, and I thought, I need to own this because this is the star that they were selling. The colonoscopy colorectal cancer awareness star. That is a silver butthole.
That's a starfish. It's
And
an actual, it's an asshole.
Nobody saw it. Like, I was like, does anyone else think this looks like a butthole? And then I'm in an office and was like, Sarah, that's really inappropriate. And I'm like, fine. So I own the silver butthole, and I have not been able to find another one of these. I have searched online. I have looked. So for you,
this is like the Mandela effect. Like, it's
I
like, this even happen?
I'm going to wear for tonight's recording, I will wear the silver starfish.
All right. When we're done, send us, because we don't do video of this part of the broadcast, please send us a photo of you wearing it and also a close up so we can post it in the stories next Wednesday.
It's a butthole, right? I'm not lying.
No, that
looks like an asshole. It looks like an asshole.
It's just nestled in my clavicle, this giant.
It is literally, I should be less colloquial, but it looks, I believe we would call it a rectum is what
I mean. Even when I saw it on the site, and this was like the early days of buying stuff on the internet. So I was like, do I really want to? Well, it's a charity. I'll give them my credit card so I can own the colorectal cancer starfish. The colorectal cancer. Yeah.
Hilarious.
You know what my favorite part of this is? And I have many favorite parts of this. My favorite part is that Olivia Wilde probably just tuned into this thinking that she was going to be spoken about for an hour. And we spent the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds talking about Katie Couric's asshole. Because we found that somehow to be the A block when we're talking about Olivia Wilde.
Well, have you looked up her actual surname?
Oh yes, I have. I have, and I'm ready to talk extensively about it. By extensively, I mean tell the one joke. But since we're here, so I'm going to guess that because if you came across her last name, you probably already know her middle name, correct?
Yes, I must recuse myself from the middle name competition.
I love that you would do it. I would lie if I was a guest. I would lie about it and pretend that I just.
I know Dominic is shocked every week when I don't pretend that I don't know it and guess it in one guess.
So Christopher will be playing this game on his own. Olivia Wilde was born March 10th, 1984 in New York City. She is 40 years old. She's a Pisces. That explains all of it. The emotion, the drama, the love of younger dick. Want to know who else is a Pisces? You got it. So Olivia is her first name. Her last name. It's like we should find this out after talking about all of her personal scandals, but I think people know well enough. Olivia Wilde's actual last name is Cockburn.
Now, for the record, it is pronounced Coburn because
is it really?
Yes, it's pronounced Coburn.
Oh my
Her
God.
parents are big FDs. Like her mom ran for office a couple of years ago. Her father is extremely well connected, but yes, it's pronounced Coburn.
That makes a lot of sense because I will talk about her first and I guess only husband in a minute, but somehow she married this person and became part
Olivia
of a papal princess or something.
Yes.
It's something very, very connected for sure. Olivia Coburn, pronounced on this broadcast as Cockburn. What is Olivia Cockburn's middle name?
Okay, so I'm going to assume that her middle name is not Newton-John, right?
It is not Newton-John. Nor, by the way, nor is it Wilde, by the way. Wilde is not some sort of, we'll give you that clue.
No, she named herself after Oscar Wilde. It was a reference to the writer Oscar Wilde. That's why she picked that name for her stage name. Yeah.
Okay, oh, brother. Well, this is going down fast.
She made a mistake doing that.
To quote Felicity Huffman. Ruh-roh. Okay. My guess is, Olivia Elizabeth Cockburn.
Oh, that's a good guess.
It is a good guess, but it is Olivia Jane.
Fuck.
Wrong sister from Pride and Prejudice, my guy.
Unless, of course, she's fucking with the pronunciation of that, and it's actually Olivia Yane Coburn.
Yeah, I was going to say Johnny.
No, it's Joie. It's Joie.
Not another one.
How dare you? How dare you bring him into this?
It's Joie. Sorry.
So I'm trying to figure out, Olivia Wilde has just been, I will say this, as I was doing my 5 minutes of research, connected or not, she has worked. She was an actress and did the thing. For 20 years, she's been taking bit parts, some of them more notable, but she has she is worked. This wasn't something, at least ostensibly, that was sort of like handed to her, you know?
No, and she's stunning. Like once she gets the opportunity, the camera loves her. Like it just takes up residence in her cheekbones. She was on the OC as one of the first bisexual characters on like network television.
Yeah.
Does the OC count as network? Yeah, it counts as network.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like she had an impact even in the roles that she was playing when she was on the OC, and then she was on House also as a bisexual character. So like she
interesting, right? She was sort of the bisexual go-to, like supporting actress.
You only need one,
I guess.
Well, and like she's a success story of like I was like a bit player on these like network / cable TV shows, and now I'm like an A-list celebrity. Do you know what I mean? Like not many people can do that.
No. And she was in Her, and then she directed Booksmart, and that really leveled her up in terms of prestige because she was one of the few people, I think, of that particular generation that made the jump from being I know her, that's Olivia Wilde, and seeing her on the OC. Then she made the jump to directing, and then Booksmart was so well reviewed. Because it's a really good movie. Like she's a very good director.
And it's not like a movie. I don't know. It's like, oh, she's going to direct like Spring Breakers or something. Like, it's like not something stupid. Like it was like a very thoughtful movie. Everyone really liked it. It was like, kind of like, remember like Boyhood?
Yeah.
Like how everyone was like jizzing over that movie. It's like, it was similar to that. I remember Booksmart being like, this really captures what like a high school girl goes through and blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like
not
13.
Yes, correct.
It's like 13 and Nikki Reed. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, exactly.
I am pretty sure that my entree to her must have been House because I'm like that sort of procedural, especially at that time. I was definitely watching House. I'm certain that the first time I saw her, I was like, Keira Knightley looks fantastic. Yeah. She's actually eating 3 meals a day. This is great. It's a good look for her, not body shaming. It's just my preference.
Dominick.
But does she's always served Keira Knightley on an American platter to me.
Yes,
like
correct.
she really has always.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this is that we're spending, which we don't normally do, we're spending a nice amount of time accolading these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're like Olivia Wilde, we're admitting that she was completely talented. This is not, we're not Charlie Sheening or Ben Afflecking this woman. We are just saying like, it's legit from start to finish until, you know, like, I mean, the story, like with many of us, COVID just really fucked everything up for Olivia Wilde.
It really did, yeah.
That period of time because things just started. Now, Booksmart, like you said, a critical hit. She also directed a couple of other, I think, short films. Nothing that I remembered when I was researching, but I know Margaret Qualley was in one of them that was apparently well reviewed. Did you see this? Did anyone see this? No. I'd never heard of it until I went to her wiki page today.
But based on the accolades of Booksmart, there was a bidding war for Don't Worry, Darling. Like studios were after this film because she was directing it. Like it was a big deal.
Now, Don't Worry, Darling, it had its own scandals, but there were also other scandals attached to her during this time that were, if we can just refer to it now as DWD for the rest of the episode.
Dear God. Dear God. Wait, before we get there.
Or would we pronounce that that acronym DUDE? Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Here's one minor skirmish, a little bit pre-DWD, which is she appears in the Clint Eastwood movie Richard Jewell and plays a reporter an actual person with the actual reporter's name. The movie itself depicts the reporter as having sex with an FBI agent in exchange for information about accused Olympic bomber Richard Jewell. So this apparently not only never happened, but caused quite a stir on the internet. And she took all the brunt of it, which is very funny because, you know, John Hamm played the FBI agent, and at no point was anyone sort of saying that the FBI was unethical for fucking the reporter. They just went after the reporter. And then also Olivia Wilde also took the blame for it rather than Clint Eastwood or the person who wrote the screenplay because she was just playing a role. So she caught a little bit of shit from that before DWD started entering our subconscious, which to her or whoever's credit, I feel like I heard about Don't Worry, Darling years before it came out. And I mean years like in the way that has happened with Wicked. I feel like we heard about this movie for such a long time.
It is so much like Wicked. Oh my God.
Well, the Blake Lively, like, It Ends With Us ran because Don't Worry, Darling walked.
Oh, I said the exact same thing. Yes, we would not be as into this if we hadn't been taught how to watch a movie promo scandal happen.
When some people are like, do you think it's fake that they're like fighting about this movie? There's a little percentage of me on It Ends With Us that I'm like, this could all be just like fashioned to be scandal for press, because everyone that went to go see Don't Worry, Darling did it because of all the scandal.
All of the Michigas. Yes. There's a Vulture article where an anonymous source says, quote, Olivia is either a mad genius who figured out a way to make people more aware of the movie in a way that just drives up the box office, or she doesn't have any self-awareness that she is fucking up her movie.
It's both.
It's B, because there are a couple of scandals wrapped up in here. First of all, the role in this movie that Harry Styles was supposed to play was originally supposed to be played by Shia LaBeouf.
Who is his trial?
A piece of shit.
His trial next month. FKA Twigs's suit of him for a whole... I won't go into it because I don't know if you need a content warning to your listeners, but the accusations are truly heinous. And they're going to court next month in October.
I am surprised that I've never gone off about him on this podcast ever, and I have not put him on the unfixables list because he truly is one of the biggest pieces of shit in Hollywood. And I hope he never works again. And I think all you have to do is Google his name, and there is a laundry list of things that he's done to celebrities, and I fucking hate him. Anyway, continue on.
Is he on the unfixable list?
Because he's not, and I don't know why.
He's not, and he should be. He will be the next time we do it.
I don't think you can fix him because he's
not on my watch. You can't.
He is heinous. He is heinous to people.
Horrible.
Allegedly. Sorry, I'll protect you guys. Allegedly.
So Flo, we don't care. We will like a lawsuit. We'll Olivia Wilde this podcast. Like we say things that we know are untrue in order to get views. So,
and this is why I like you.
So Shia LaBeouf is accused of abusing badly FKA Twigs. And Flo, who is known colloquially as Florence Pugh, but who we will call Flo on this podcast.
Excuse me, that's Miss Flo to you. That is Miss Flo.
Was friends with her, or Olivia was friends with her. To make a long story short, when it comes out that Shia LaBeouf was supposed to have the Harry Styles role, there are opposing theories about what happened. Where Olivia Wilde is insinuating that she let him go because she made Florence uncomfortable. There are other stories that Olivia Wilde was friends with FKA Twigs and couldn't have Shia. So Shia eventually calls bullshit.
Here's the thing. Let me back up 1 second, though. Mm-hmm. Olivia has been very outspoken about having a no assholes policy on her set. Correct. She talks about her set as the director will have no assholes, no poor behavior.
I love when these actors do this. Like, this is very Lenny adjacent. This is like Bradley Cooper adjacent.
Were they allowed to use chairs on this set?
They let us sit down? Yeah.
They're like, oh, there's no assholes on my set. It's like, you're hiring the biggest asshole of all of them.
Yes. If you have a no assholes
policy... You can't even wear Katie Couric jewelry on this set. That is how serious the no asshole rule is.
I'm clutching my pearl right now.
Your brown pearl.
My brown pearl. Jesus. I'm never going to be able to wear this necklace again.
You might have to send it to us whenever you're done.
I think I might have to give it to you.
It might need one of us might need to wear it. All this to say, they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna run my set so well, blah, blah. It's like, no, you didn't even get to the set yet and you've already ruined
You
this.
offered a contract to a known abuser. What are you doing?
Yeah, can't say you have a no asshole policy on your set whenever this is the person that's supposed to be the lead role of your movie.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing. Florence Pugh, though, her star is rising. Like, she has become a humongous celebrity. And so, like, that's the other thing is, like, it's her vehicle, in my opinion, right? Like, this was supposed to be like a big star turn for her, for people that see Little Women.
Well, that's the funny thing. Well, first of all, Shia calls bullshit on him being fired for any other reason other than scheduling, and releases, I don't know if it was video or audio, but
video. I have a link to it. If you would like me to play it, I can play it because I have it ready to roll if you want to play it. She is in the car and sweaty and filming on her phone while she's driving, hello. Okay. And she talks about how she just went for a horseback ride and she's all sweaty. And I'm like, okay. But she's basically trying to sweet talk him into coming back. And he leaks this video that's like, no, you didn't fire me. I quit. And you tried to get me to stay.
And in the conversation, she does speak what we would interpret as disparagingly about Florence Pugh, because she's just like, I'll handle Miss Flo.
Yes. What she said was, I feel like I'm not ready to give up on this yet. And I too am heartbroken and I want to figure this out. You know, I think this might be a bit of a wake up call for Miss Flo. And I want to know if you are open to giving this a shot with me and with us. So she blames Florence, talks shit about her, contradicts the idea that she fires him. And then my favorite part of all of this.
And she put this on video.
She put it on video. Like, okay.
Sorry.
You are an actor. You know how that works.
Yeah.
All of Florence Pugh's hair and makeup team for Venice and premiere work all wore black shirts that said Miss Flo.
Oh, I love that.
Incredible.
And her stylist posted pictures of her and just captioned them Miss Flo. Like Florence Pugh is like, thank you. I will take this.
Watch me
go.
Every gay man on Instagram was like loving it. You know what I mean?
She showed up for Venice in like a purple shorts and bra and shirt, holding a spritz and just walking off a boat while the press is happening.
While the press conference that she refused to go to was happening. She's just wandering the streets with an
God tier. Absolute God tier.
Yeah, incredible.
And this, I could never be that cool in my entire life. And I just have to be in awe.
And this, Your Honor, is exhibits A through Z about why I do not think Olivia Wilde is some sort of genius who masterminded all this publicity. She's just an actress and a liar, and a director and a liar, I should say. Whatever look, I'm not going to judge the ethics at this. Like what she did as a director is something I'm certain every director has done, probably worse. With
screwing the top, screwing one of their stars?
Maybe, anyone who worked with Harvey Weinstein is as culpable as anything of what Olivia Wilde was trying to do with Shia LaBeouf. She's just trying to seem like a hero, and she just got
caught in a lie. She just got caught in a lie.
She did.
She got caught red-handed.
The thing about that lie is that she tried to sort of dress it up like I'm a feminist director.
Yeah, like, look at me, solving this problem.
I'm so brave. I'm so feminist. I'm keeping my set safe. And I'm like, Isn't that the basic job of the director, is to make the set safe? Like, isn't that like the bar is in the earth's crust? Right? Like, it should
as I like to say, below sea level.
Yeah, it's easy to clear for crying out loud. And then we get to the Harry Styles of it all, which is just incredible to me.
Before we go into this, Starfish, this Shia thing to me is sort of the biggest actual offense, in real life.
Agree.
She needs fixing more publicly because of the Harry Styles and Florence mess. But this Shia thing is the true most offensive thing in real life that she's done.
Yeah, it's like hiring Chevy Chase and then being surprised that he's an asshole. Like, why are you offering a contract to a person who's a known abuser? This isn't new. If you Google Shia LaBeouf abuse, your computer will start smoking.
Right.
Google will be like, oh, this is too much. I can't.
There's a joke.
Shia LaBeouf goes away and Harry Styles gets hired for that role. In an instant, Florence Pugh's movie just becomes Harry Styles' movie, at least to the screaming white people of the world. You know what I mean? So it's...
Yeah, this is during his album that is exploding.
White hot.
And he's like neck and neck with Billy Joel for most concerts played at Madison Square Garden. It's wild how successful he becomes. Even more than he already was with One Direction, which was the biggest boy band resurgence since NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. He's an absolute superstar, and it was his year, that whole year.
And to be clear, as we go through this scandal, and Olivia needs fixing because mostly of how this scandal negatively affected her when coupled with all the other Don't Worry, Darling stuff.
And her divorce. Don't forget that part.
Yes,
there's a third tier to this. Yeah.
Yes. And it's terrible. And I think a lot of it had to do with not just who she was divorcing, but the character that her former partner played on television had a bigger deal.
100%. It's like people think Kim Cattrall is Samantha. They think they're the same person. They're not the same person. Yeah.
But before we get into it, I want to be on the record as saying that if given the opportunity to have sex with Harry Styles one time, the list of friendships and family members I would give up for that honor is so long. This podcast would be 3 hours if I was reading it.
It's like Santa's list.
Unashamedly, unabashedly, that's just it. So
it's like that scroll that Angie K.
No one slut shaming here. Oh, she humiliated her husband. Well, she also sat on Harry Styles' dick. So priorities. My children are Harry Styles. Let me tell you, I'm glad I don't have children, so I'll never have to answer that question because it would be close.
But you already had sex to have your mythical children. You don't have to give them up. This is just more sex. Just leave your children out of it.
You're just ready to betray people.
I understand completely. I understand completely. Now, I will say, Harry Styles does not do it for me. And I am cautious in commenting on Harry Styles because I know very well what the Harry Styles fandom can be like. And it really sounds like she just fucked off to go stupping.
Yeah.
You know, like they hooked up and it was just nonstop boinking.
Well, and it was just like they're caught up in a whirlwind and a showmance for the ages. And she's probably just like, Jason's never home because of fucking stupid ass Ted Lasso and blah, 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 and this and that. And then Harry Styles was like, you're an amazing director. Because, of course, he's like acted in like 2 things for 5 seconds.
He's very like, charming. That is a charming man right there.
He's probably so charming. And also, he's probably like, wow, like this is amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you for like giving me this role, like blah, blah, blah. And like,
I get to act opposite Florence Pugh.
Much like,
holy crap.
My theory about Ariana Grande and SpongeBob is like they were like doing harmonies together and then like fell in love. Like he was probably like talking about like acting theory with her or like, you know what I mean?
But also wasn't he in a relationship, at least a physical relationship with Florence Pugh before Olivia Wilde?
I have no idea.
I don't think Harry Styles.
I've heard that multiple times that part of the reason was that there was something between Miss Flo and Harry, and then after Olivia started up with him, Flo just found it to be so unprofessional, et cetera, et cetera. Could be wrong. Hope I am. If you think I am, please sue us at Fixing Famous People. And also spread that lawsuit on all your other websites.
I will say that Google autofill supports your thesis because I typed Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, and one of the first suggestions was relationship.
Yep. I did hear, and again, not like a romance like he and Olivia had, but that there was sort of like a show-lationship or whatever they call the movie version of it happening. But then Olivia took over because he was her muse, obviously.
Here's my theory.
What do you call a male muse? A mose? A moose.
No.
He was her moose.
Her moose.
Well, okay, Sarah, what's your theory?
My theory is that Olivia Wilde is incredibly talented, but also very messy and very horny.
Yeah.
And that is the problem, that she cannot reconcile her messy and her horny and her fame.
Oh my God, I'm Olivia Wilde.
I know. See, you can't be hard on her because it's going to resonate, right?
It's like looking in a mirror, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, she's going to resonate with you.
Well, she also, by the way, Jason Sudeikis was never married to Olivia Wilde. They just have 2 children together. So all the legal shit that happens that we're about to talk about is about custody. She was married once. She was married at 19 to an Italian filmmaker. I might have to put my glasses on for this.
Yeah, she was.
Named Don Tao dei Principi Ruspoli, who was a member of the aristocratic Ruspoli family. Before we move on to Ted Lasso, just want to point out, because I find it so interesting, per the wiki page, upon her marriage, Wilde became a princess of the papal nobility.
Yep.
And then in a very unpapal way, she and her husband got divorced.
She was 19.
No, but
8 years later. They were married for 8 years.
He was minimum 44 years old, right?
I don't know how old he was. Let's click on him.
She's a 19-year-old hottie that's popping around Italy. And then
her parents are very well connected.
Yeah. And
he's 8 years older than she is. 8 years older.
Even so.
Okay. Think about like 19 plus 8 years.
That's a gap.
That is a bit of a gap.
Yeah, but I thought it was going to be like a 45-year-old like pervert that was like, let's bang. And she's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like that, which PS is chic.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought I was getting myself into. And
but like my older child is 18. And if he was a 19-year-old dating somebody who is 8 years older, I would be like, okay, so let's just have a little talk. You do you, but I have concerns. I feel like this is my role as a parent. So one other thing I read when I was doing my research one of the things that pissed people off was that during the filming of Don't Worry, Darling, the set it's 2021. It's like super COVID lockdown. There's pictures of like behind the scenes, everyone masked, everyone's staying apart. The COVID protocols on set are super strict. And Olivia and Harry went to his agent's wedding and broke COVID protocols to go to this wedding. And so the rumor was that the crew was pissed and the other actors were pissed.
Rightfully so.
We're quarantined. We're not doing anything. And you're like fucking about going to a wedding with all of these randos. And we're supposed to be like in a bubble. And she's just like, oh, well, I got to go to Harry Styles' agent's wedding because I do. Like, what? No.
Shame on you. And their outfits were hideous. I remember distinctly.
That was not a great dress.
No, not for either of them. So basically, will we ever know the actual timeline or the actual overlap? Because Olivia says that her and Jason Sudeikis, known better to the world as everyone's favorite human, Ted Lasso, did she cheat on him with Harry Styles? How long was the overlap? She maintains it was absolutely a big distance between the two. I believe that Ted Lasso would tell a different story because of what Chris brought up earlier, when apparently their nanny revealed that one day Jason got upset that Olivia was making her special salad dressing for Harry Styles, and he was so upset about her bringing him this dressing that he laid either in front of or underneath her car.
Behind behind her car.
You need to calm down.
And was crying.
It's a vinaigrette. Calm down.
And meanwhile, everyone's like, okay, anyway, what's the salad dressing recipe?
Right. Like, how do you not share the recipe after all of this drama? And then she posts a recipe to Nora Ephron's vinaigrette.
People are monsters. That's the worst part, is that she wasn't like, please respect my privacy. She posted the recipe. Which again, I think is funny, but also I'm like, you're a monster.
It was a monstrous move for sure on her part.
Yeah. And she was referenced in American Horror Story. Did you know this? That there was an Olivia Wilde joke in an American Horror Story?
No.
So there was an American Horror Story scene with Kim Kardashian playing a character named Siobhan.
What a surprise.
And she says, quote, we're going to pull a wild card, as in Olivia Wilde. Don't mention what happened and wait till everyone forgets / low-key gaslight people that do ask and make them think that they're the problem because, sexism.
Oh, she must love that.
The fact that was delivered by Kimberly Kardashian as well.
Honestly,
incredible.
Which is Kim's MO every day.
I was like, was there any self-awareness there? No. Was it delicious?
Kim does another racist photo shoot. And then they're like, and then she's like, what? No, I'm just really tan.
The other thing about the whole divorce, and generally speaking, in any kind of celebrity divorce, there's this, especially since Depp and Heard, there's this sort of, let's pick a side, let's pick a team. And I'm like, no, team kids, these are children and you are fucking up your kids' lives by behaving this way. Both of you. Like, I would like to have I would like to have a serious sit down with both of them because they are fucking up their kids' lives with all this bullshit. Well, but he had her served on stage at CinemaCon, introducing
another one of the great mysteries, though. Not great mysteries, but another thing we'll never get a straight answer on because the people on both sides of the argument are so fierce about it. One is the overlap between Jason and Harry. And the other one is that Jason Sudeikis maintains he did not know that they were going to serve her that way. But Olivia Wilde has said in interviews that it was obviously calculated. She won't go any further than that, probably to protect her kids. But
that's like when you're serving someone, it's like, well, we know she's going to be here. So we'll just do it here.
The judge allegedly said she was ducking service. But in order to do this, to make it as humiliating as possible, this process server had to pay the CinemaCon entrance fee, which is not, small, pass all these COVID protocols, make it seem as if they have a legitimate reason to be there, walk up to the stage while she's talking and hand her an envelope.
I loved it.
I reach out to a friend of mine who is an attorney and a judge, and I'm like, is that weird? And she's like, that's really weird. Like, there's a lot of ways to serve somebody that don't mean going through all those hoops. Plus, that process server is going to have to get reimbursed for all of that. So somebody's going to have to approve total humiliation, sir. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Check off.
Yeah,
Here's your check. Here's your check. Thanks very much. Like, there's more there, and it's super gross.
Here's the thing, though. I've watched the video of her
being
getting served.
Yeah.
This is terrible. And please, well, I don't care if you want to savage me. It's fine. I feel like she set it up. I feel like she set it up because she was going to look like
poor her.
She was going to look like the victim here. And I think she did, you know what I mean? But I look at it because if I'm in front of 4,000 people delivering a speech, the person who hands me an envelope that would interrupt a presentation where I'd actually open it would either have to be Chris, my mother, or Cher. Like anyone else, I would look at them and be like,
get Jennifer the fuck Lopez out of here. Handed you an envelope, you'd open it too.
Maybe just because I'm a comic and I don't do a lot of crowd work because I don't want anyone ruining my flow or participating with me. I would, if I'm doing a show and someone hands me an envelope, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like I'll be done in 20 minutes. It was a manila envelope.
It was a big one, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she could have had something
Dominick,
to do with it.
As much as I don't want to agree with you are onto something.
Yikes.
Because you wouldn't take it. You would just look at them. And there's obviously like security at these places or things like how did the guy even get up there?
Yikes.
Oh God, we're like, here we go.
And you know what? I don't even think
you need me to get my tinfoil. Do you guys need a chapeau?
Yes.
I have a Costco roll of tinfoil. We just went to Costco.
I sort of thought it when I watched it today, but then when you were like, this guy had to pay the CinemaCon fee, I'm like,
And go through, and this was 2021, 2022. So there's all these COVID protocols and all that security, and you got all those movie stars running around. Yeah, that is weird.
Too easy. And
also, their former nanny sold their story to the Daily Mail, which paid like kabunga bucks for that.
Yeah.
So you've already got people who work for you, who work for your kids, who are willing to sell you out.
Immediately.
Instantly. That is not great.
No.
And also super shitty that nanny's never going to work again.
No.
Which is good.
Not in Hollywood, they're not.
Weird, which bolsters my theory, is that the process server was actually being played by problematic actor Ezra Miller, which no one has commented on when he handed the envelope over.
Was he like the Flash?
Who was that?
We have no idea. It was the Flash.
Dear God in heaven.
I was the only process server in SAG in the building that day.
But no, I mean, now that you're saying the serving of the papers, I forgot all about this. Like, it really was like every single day was a new story about we got like the hour by hour update of like what was happening in the dissolution of this relationship.
It was also the only moment through this scandalous DWD Ted Lasso world where you looked at Olivia Wilde sympathetically.
Yeah.
Because she was with Ted Lasso and not Shia LaBeouf, her going with Harry Styles, which with anyone else would have been absolutely worshipped and celebrated and you go girled to death. But because it was Jason Sudeikis, not so.
Yeah, and the laying behind the car story doesn't help either. Because then he's like, oh, he's heartbroken over this. Like, he's not just like, yeah, you stupid bitch. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, whatever, like, go fuck this, like, child. Like, he's devastated and he's like, please don't leave me. Like he's actually like a big loser. Like, that makes it even worse.
And she has accused him on the record to the press of spinning out their divorce to bankrupt her because he got so much money through Ted Lasso.
Yeah, sure.
Her allegation is that he's just stalling and stalling and stalling. So she has to keep paying and paying and paying her attorneys to the point where she had asked for money to continue to afford all of the legal stuff that was going on because he was dragging it out. So here's what I think is part of the problem. She is the subject of a lot of sexism and misogyny. Like there's an extra sexism and misogyny layer on top of all the Olivia Wilde hate.
You mean aside from this podcast?
I mean, no, just generally, like people do not like her. And oddly enough, I like texted all my friends. So what do you think of Olivia Wilde? All of my friends who are white are like, oh, I have opinions. And all of my friends who are women of color were like, who?
Yeah, this is the thing.
A very niche celebrity she is.
She is. My biggest like note about her is like she doesn't have like one role where we're like this was her star turn kind of a thing. Like,
this is her star turn. The scandal of the launch of Don't Worry Darling is her star turn. Like
if she wasn't married to Jason Sudeikis, she would have been a celebrity that we would like that kind of would have faded out into obsculity.
She would have ended up on a reality show probably.
Yeah.
You know,
and might if Chris put her on one in his pitch.
But like the other problem is that not only do you have all of this sexism and misogyny, but she keeps scoring own goals. Like you are partnered with Jason Sudeikis at the height of Ted Lasso, who everyone thinks is Ted Lasso, and you guys are going through a divorce. How do you not see how this might play out? Then you go and date Harry Styles with a weird, maybe somewhat fudgy overlap between those two relationships, who also has a big fandom of people who are obsessed with him and are going to hate you.
Remember they were on that boat? Remember there were all these pictures of them like on those boats, like making out. And everyone was like, yes, like Harry likes older women. So every like 50-year-old woman that like was like masturbating to him was like, oh my God, I have a chance. Like they were like freaking.
And let's not forget, he referenced her in his big, in As It Was. He referenced Olivia Wilde in that song.
Yes, he did.
His biggest hit.
Wait, really?
He talks about someone going, what is it, Sarah? He talks about someone going back to California. But it was very clear that he was talking about Olivia Wilde.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely like, oh, that could be read to be about her.
Oh, and you know the other thing that we aren't talking about in that, remember the video of them at, was it like Cannes, one of the big film festivals, where Harry Styles gets up and people think he spits in Chris Pine's lap. Do you remember that?
On Chris Pine, allegedly.
Everyone was like, no, that's not what happened. Like they all came out and said he didn't spit. And then it was because Chris Pine then like reacts and is like laughing, but it was like because he didn't like wave to Miss Flo or like something happened and he didn't greet someone, but everyone was like, did he just spit in Chris Pine's lap? So then the internet like
he
went
hawked
crazy.
To Chris Pine's
lap.
We talked about it on this podcast. I mean, I think it happened while we were alive.
Yes.
This was my Janet Jackson's nipple.
Yeah.
Like I didn't give a shit about Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl, but was I sliding the little play button back and forth? Yes, I was. Because I was like, he really just hawked a loogie on Chris Pine, American treasure. Chris, who was, by the way, disassociating clearly during all of the press, listening to Harry Styles talk. And Chris Pine is on some other planet. Harry Styles is like, it was like a movie. It was like going to the movies. But I think the real problem with Olivia Wilde is that she's already on the defensive. She's dating a guy with an incredible fandom. She's breaking up her partnership with somebody who everyone thinks is Ted Lasso. And she's also beautiful and talented and really stunning. And her star is on this like straight up in the air trajectory. And people like that, women especially, get cut down. And so there's all of this sexism and misogyny, but she's making so many mistakes. It's like she's handing out hedge trimmers to cut her down.
And on pop culture paper, she doesn't have a resume that like if this was Nicole Kidman, all of us would be like bowing down, worshiping her little individual toes.
Right.
Because we'd be like, this is what a celebrity does.
Right.
If, you know what I mean? And Keith Urban was like laying in front of the car. Like we'd be like, run him over with it. Like we would be like loving this. But Olivia Wilde does not have the pop culture resume to like handle a scandal like this.
Only because of the scandal does she have the resume in the first place.
She's trapped between Shia and Ted Lasso. That's her epitaph at this point. Like if something would happen to her today, the autobiography would be trapped between Shia and Ted Lasso. Excuse me. I would like to amend that title to torn between, it'll be trapped between LaBeouf and Lasso. That's it. Sorry, I worked it out. Go ahead. Thank you for coming to my dev.
That's a good episode title. That's a very good episode
title. LaBeouf / Lasso, like Frost Nixon. Yeah. That's it. That's the name of the book.
And the other thing about Harry Styles is that his fandom is obsessed with what he does.
Right.
And so she was going to get talked about just because they were holding hands.
Right.
Like this relationship was going to get her attention.
Oh, yeah.
And the weird thing about Harry Styles' fandom is that everyone infantilizes him like, oh, he's just this young guy and he's just this little boy. I'm like, no, he's in his 30s now.
And he's been A-list plus famous since he was a child.
Yes. Like he knows how this works. He dated Taylor Swift for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Skywriter air quotes dated Taylor.
Yes. Right. So she kind of knew, she had to know what she was getting into, and yet proceeded to make all these own goals with her own celebrity. Like, girl, what are you doing? Like I said, she's messy and horny.
Yeah, she's messy and horny. Which, who amongst?
Literally
two.
In my notes, it says whomst.
Yeah, whomst. Whomst amongst.
Whomst among us.
And then, but also too, it's like, yeah, but that's not, when you've got sex on the brain, you're not thinking straight.
Yes. And if your celebrity is on that like nearly vertical trajectory, it's really easy for it to turn around and come back down. And that's kind of what happened. Correct. And she got outplayed by Florence Pugh.
We are walking the carpet to the arena as I speak. Christopher, do you need water? Do you need a moment of meditation? Or are you ready?
Do you need to get out of the closet for a minute?
No, I think I'm ready. I'm in the closet.
Do you need to come out of the closet, Chris?
No, I'm ready. Halfway through this episode, it hit me and I was like, this is what it is. And I'm just going with it. I think
all right. Oh, you're so sure. I didn't come up with mine until about 10 minutes ago.
I think.
Excuse me? Okay. Please introduce this properly.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Olivia Newton-John. What was my guess?
Jane Cockburn.
Jane.
You guessed Elizabeth, but she's Jane. Wrong. Pride and Prejudice sister.
Elizabeth Jane Cockburn Wilde. Oscar Wilde. You are a talented director. You are talented in the film industry. And that's what you're going to do. You are not a starlet. We have way too many people right now that are like in their white hot peak of fame for you to try to get in there. We're not doing anything stupid. We're not doing it. You're taking the high road for once. You need to write a script about your divorce from Jason Sudeikis. And it is like a fictionalized. This is definitely not. It's much like Gone Girl wasn't Lacey Peterson and Scott Peterson, but it absolutely was. And any person that knows the case and watched that movie was like, this is Scott Peterson. Like, and you knew everything that was going to happen until the end based on that. You are writing the script. I want salad dressings in it. I want a laying down in front of the car. Like, I need all of it. I need you with the younger guy on the yacht, like all of it. And you don't ever say that it is this, but we all know that it is this. You direct it. What Florence Pugh was for Don't Worry, Darling, we need you to have the next wave of those people in this movie. And it's going to be like star turns for each of the people. And you're the director. You're the writer. Oscar buzz. Here we go. I don't need her in front of the camera. I need her like accepting an award on a stage. And that's my pitch.
Like, really, darling, don't worry.
Yeah, like really, actually, don't worry, darling.
So I don't know how this is going to be perceived, but I'm going to say to you, this has never happened before. I don't think in the 2 years we've been doing this.
I've listened to every episode, but my memory is faulty, but I'll try to back you up.
I was just going to say, let me go to my second place idea, which I don't have. That was exactly my idea.
No.
I swear on the lives of everyone I love that was my idea.
No.
I'm so happy I don't have to choose between you.
The only tidbit, which was kind of a joke, but it's the only thing I have to differentiate. I mean, her writing it, her directing, like the whole thing, the divorce, the making the movie, the falling, like, yes, exactly Chris's idea, but I thought it would be a real kiki to have Florence Pugh play the Olivia Wilde role. Yeah.
I almost no, but Dominic, it was coming out of my mouth, and I was like, no.
Has this happened before where we had the same exact idea?
Never, ever.
No. You've had somebody build on your ideas and combine your ideas, and you've had somebody one up your ideas, but you've never had the same idea at the same time.
I mean, you kept and I'm like, oh, well, mine's a little different. And you kept giving detail after detail. I'm like, I'm not coming up with something else. I'm sticking with my goddamn idea. No. That's
so they're not going to do a cabaret show. We're not going to do Olivia Wilde in Paradise.
Not an evening with. Not the Odd Couple with her and Florence Pugh opposite each other. Not
on Golden Pond.
Cher is somehow involved at some point. Yeah.
It's not the cast of Don't Worry, Darling doing Glengarry Glen Ross. Like, it's not. Well, Dominic, I don't really know what we do here because
I
think award a point to each of you and you move on with your lives. Well, I'm so proud to
I think we recorded as a tie. This. I mean, we have other ties before, like when we've had competing and then they like loop them together. But because we had the same idea, we can, I think, classify this as a tie.
Sarah, what's your reaction to this pitch?
I think it's perfect because it plays to all her strengths. And she is a good actor and she is a good director. And she has the story that everyone's going to be like, okay, what's she going to say now? Because she also has such a history of, like I said, being really, really messy and clumsy with her own celebrity. This is a way for her to neaten all of that up.
And also attempted with tongue in cheek, like her posting the salad dressing recipe. I feel like she's willing to play ball. Her obviously orchestrating the delivery of the custody papers.
And she'll be snarky too because
confirmed, but
Yeah, she posted on her Instagram story somebody's message about like, I wish Taylor Swift would date a climate scientist. Like she's dragged Taylor Swift on Instagram. Like
she's and that's the thing. If she was more famous, like if we liked her more, Like when she posted the salad dressing recipe, we would have all been like, this is the best person alive.
Right. But
do you know what I mean? Like
she made Ted Lasso lay in front of a Tesla. And that is all that's her downfall. That's why we're talking about her today.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it sucks because we're talking about her because she has been messy about her job, like professionally messy about her job. And all of her fame comes from proximity to men, which is something that she's worked really hard to differentiate herself as an activist, as a feminist. And yet all of her celebrity and all of this discussion is about her interactions and relationships with men.
Yeah.
So this would let her break out of that, which would be really good.
No, but truly, that was kind of the thought of at least for me, it was like, she needs to like own this story and not have it be like tabloid people serving this. Like what led to him laying in front of the freaking car? What led to her and that's like, I'm just like, Sarah, to use your word, which I think you were quoting us, dickmatized by this, you know what I mean? This younger guy. That's
definitely a word I learned from you.
I get it if that's what it is. You know what I mean? If she's like, I'm just so in love with this younger man because he like actually wants to have sex with me.
I mean, at the top of the list before I would critique her at all, it opens with my letter to her is, Dear Olivia Wilde, atta girl. Let's just right there. Now let's go into it. She's also supposedly attached to direct a movie called Perfect, which is a biopic about gymnast Carrie Strug. About who?
About herself.
I mean, she's
about
perfect.
Gwyneth
Her cheekbones are exquisite.
And apparently her directing plate is pretty full. According to Wiki, she's doing an untitled holiday comedy for Universal and a female-centered superhero film as part of the Spider-Man universe.
Oh, yeah.
She's directing Spider-Woman.
She's working. Like, she's good to go. But like, again, in the realm of the viewer / fan, she's...
When you mention her, this is what's all going to come up.
Yeah.
Olivia, it's not like you're going to say this guy was in this movie. It's going to be Olivia Wilde, who was part of Don't Worry, Darling, where Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine and she ran off into the woods to have sex in a trailer.
She,
and
was like doing food porn with like a salad dressing. Yeah.
I mean, if it was Oliver Wilde, would we even be bothering at this point?
Oscar Wilde, you mean?
Oscar.
No, I mean, if she was named Oliver Wilde, if she was a man.
No one would talk about this. Male directors get to behave terribly, and they're artists. They're artists.
Yeah. Well, we did it.
We did.
Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Please tell everyone about your podcast.
Bless you. Smart Podcast Trashy Books is a 2 podcasts in one. It's like a shampoo and conditioner, only it actually works. Sometimes we talk about romance fiction and the wonderful people who read and write it. And sometimes I recap a classic out-of-print magazine called Romantic Times. And I will show you my favorite issue. This is the kind of magazine we're talking about here. Old school romance.
Fabio.
That's not Fabio. I forget that guy's name.
Dark-haired Fabio.
Dark-haired Fabio. Yeah. So we recap a classic out-of-print magazine that looks at romances from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, which was the heyday of weirdness. And you can find me also at smartbitchestrashybooks.com, one of the oldest running blogs about romance fiction. It's almost 20 years old.
I love that.
She's been in this for a minute. And I actually went on your podcast and did a really, really fun episode about like basically likening the tropes of romance novels to the tropes that is in the Real Housewives. And so
also how you have all of the same tropes, but instead of being about romance, it's about conflict resolution, and how the narrative is generated by conflict, which has a lot in common with romance. It's one of my favorite episodes, and people have told me up and down how much they loved your appearance. So please come back and talk about whatever you want, honest to God.
I'm there. All right. So people can find you. Where can they find you on? Oh, you're not on Instagram, are you?
I am at Smart Bitches everywhere. Twitter.
You have Smart Bitches?
At Smart Bitches on Twitter, on Instagram. The only place I couldn't do it was Facebook. So it's at Trashy Books. I'm at Smart Bitches on Blue Sky. I am at Smart Bitches everywhere.
Dominick, where can people find you?
Also there. No, my website's domentary.com and the socials are Dominick Pupa. Christopher, where can our listeners find you on the World Wide Web?
You can in the closet right now.
You can find me in the closet. You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People, and you can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Fixing Famous People. I wish you both well, and as always, where's Shelley? Goodbye.